Hello, my name is Sara Russo, and I'm a second year and a Center for Digital Strategies MBA fellow at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College. I'm pleased to welcome John Gallant, who is joining us today as part of the Brit Technology series. Welcome, John, and thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here.
So it's clear that social technologies have made a huge impact in the consumer world. And how do you see these technologies having an impact on the enterprise?
I think we're just at the beginning edge of seeing the impact of social media in the enterprise, and I think for a couple reasons. The business environment has changed such that businesses have to move much more rapidly these days. And what they need to do is figure out new ways to tap into the expertise and the skills of their employee base. And what we're starting to see is some companies that are really tapping into social media as a way to do that, as a way to share information, as a way to get people to collaborate on projects. Just at the cutting edge of this, because I think enterprises wrestle with issues that most consumers really don't wrestle with as much as maybe they ought to, such as confidentiality of information, control over information, control over intellectual property. So we're starting to see companies look to how social media can help with the challenges of collaboration and agility, while at the same time wrestling with these issues.
What have you seen as kind of the key factors that have come together to enable social in the enterprise? So is it the availability of tools? Is it a shift in work culture and the consumerization of IT, or something else that you've seen in the
I think it's a combination of things. One is there's an explosion of tools, but there's also the sense that you have an employee base that's increasingly steeped in the use of these technologies. So you can't have the work environment be very different from how people are working in their personal lives. People are very comfortable with Facebook, very comfortable with LinkedIn, very comfortable with Foursquare and other tools. They want to look at ways that they can use that, and they're very comfortable sharing information about themselves and about the things they're working on. So the technology and the familiarity with the technology is creating a base that companies can build on. At the same time, companies are facing challenges. They're facing challenges, as I mentioned earlier, in agility and speed to market. And they see how crowdsourcing and they see how tapping into the expertise of consumers and employees can help them to do things much more quickly. So I think it's a confluence of business factors. I think it's a confluence of social factors where people feel much more comfortable with the technologies.
Great. What does social in the enterprise mean for those concerned about enterprise security?
Well, now you've touched on the big concern, security. So when you talk to a CIO, a Chief Information Officer, about social media, it's a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde conversation. On the one hand, people are very enthusiastic about the power of social media, and you see a lot of CIOs who want to lead social media efforts in their companies and figure out ways that they can tap into these collaboration tools. But a couple minutes later in that conversation, you'll start to get at the issues of control and security. A lot of what IT does is lock things down and bolt things down so that they're protected. And a lot of these social media capabilities really challenge that. The information wants to be free and people want to share. So security is a big concern, and companies are starting to look at what you have to do beyond technology with policies, with procedures, with education, to help people understand, hey, there are great things we can do with these social technologies, but by the same token, you have responsibilities as an employee, you have responsibilities to the company. How do we balance these two things?
What is the future of social in the enterprise? What's next? As is in your role as Chief Content Officer, what do you see?
I think the future is very bright for social in the enterprise for a very important reason. One of the biggest challenges for IT over the years has been, how do I contribute to the success of the business? In too many organizations, IT remains a backroom function. It's a set of services that you deliver to people. By empowering collaboration through these social tools, you're really showing the power of technology. And you can really have a material impact on how quickly your company brings out new products, brings out new services. If you empower the company with new ways to tap into employee knowledge, to tap into customer knowledge, that's a really powerful thing. And I think that has the potential to much more closely link IT and the business organization and really end that separation that's existed almost since IT became part of the company.
From the viewpoint of a CIO, how should they be looking at changes that social enterprises are bringing to the enterprise? So how does it impact both the tools they're delivering as well as their organization needs, how their organization needs to evolve to support those tools?
It's a great question. I think two important things need to happen, and we're starting to see this with some more thought leadership CIOs. First, you need to reach out to your functional peers across the organization. You need to be having conversations with the human resources folks. You need to be having conversations with business unit leaders. You need to be having conversations with legal. You need to be having conversations with all of those significant constituencies within the organization to formulate what it is you're trying to do with social media, both externally and internally. Before you start applying tools, before you start racing around to deploy this or that, you really need to understand, what are we trying to do here? And once you know that, then it's really, how do we create the best set of capabilities that people can tap into? You don't want to mandate what people use for social media. You want to enable it. But you need to enable it through your conversations with these other functional departments in the area of policies, in the area of education, in the area of control, to help people to understand, hey, we want to make this possible for you, but you have to do it in such a way that it's safe for the organization and productive. And that's where you start with the goal in mind. What are we trying to achieve? Let's measure that and see if the use of these technologies helps.
Thanks so much. John, on behalf of the Center for Digital Strategies at Tuck, I would like to thank you again for speaking with us today. I'm sure our listeners appreciate your thoughts and insights. This has been Sara Russo for the Center for Digital Strategies at the Tuck School of Business.
Thanks, Sara.